Hello, I'm Alex Foltz, my husband Chuck. If you don't know us, we are both very involved in our community. Most of the work we do is not in any way affiliated to the purpose of what we are talking about right now. Um, right now, we are here to talk about our youth football and cheer program and some of the issues that we have faced since signing up our youngest son to play football. I have notes, so I'm going to go back and forth because it goes back pretty far and I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to give misinformation. But there's been a lot going on, and we really think that the community needs to be made aware of a lot of it because it is damaging the program for our youth and negatively affecting our children. And that's not what we're here for. A lot of this is based on our opinion, things that have happened and how it made us feel. Some of it will be factual, and factual things mean that we will have proof of it, whether it be, things that were sent. There's videos of stuff, there's recordings of things, screenshots that have been sent to us numerous times. As a leader in our community, we both, I think, can feel like this. I watch a lot of community leaders talk negatively about other people on platforms, and generally, I think it's pretty tacky, and I try not to do it. We try to be purposeful in the things that we do. We aren't involved to benefit ourselves. The things that we do are to benefit our community overall. Typically, most of what we do is for our youth. There was something important that I wanted to say with that. So typically, it's a very hard line between our professional lives and our personal lives, including volunteer work. We keep things fairly private regarding the two things because we find it easier to do the work that we're doing and not allow that to make things messy like they are becoming. How far back do we want to go with this?
I think we should start at the beginning with our oldest son. Um, there was some hurdles I had to get through uh, joining our
Right.
community league.
Yeah, because that was going on in life during that time.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we go that far back, um, our oldest boy started playing football when he was 5, and that was flag football. Uh, our community did not offer a flag football program at that time, and I don't believe they do. They still don't. Um,
There
so
wasn't even freshman football in most places at that point, though, right?
no, freshman football
It
didn't
was
start
just
till the
JV, I
year
thought.
after. Yeah, it was
It was
JV
JV
and
and
varsity.
varsity and most of FYFL, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When Brock started. Okay.
So we take our oldest boy to Jefferson to play flag football, get him introduced because he wanted to play. Um, in the mix of doing that, I was asked to be an assistant coach for the flag football team, which I took on. We had a good time. Brock made some friends outside of this community. Um, Fast forward to the end of that season, the board president at the time, I believe he was the board president for the Jefferson youth football program, came to me and asked um, if I would like to stay out there because he didn't know if I'd heard, but they were starting a freshman division of tackle football in the youth program. Um, it was going to be their introduction. So he would ask me if I wanted to be the head coach. So in asking me, I said I would have to talk to our oldest son, which is Brock, and let him make that absolute decision because he goes to school. We are Buckeye. He was going to be a Warrior no matter what. So I had a conversation with a 5.5-year-old, and he said, I'd like to stay out there one more year because I made some friends. So I accepted the position to become the head coach of the first year freshman football team for the Jefferson Youth Football League.
Mm-hmm.
Um, got to know the people out there. They seemed to have liked me. They liked what we were teaching their boys. Um, to this day, I see some of them boys that played for me way back then at the high school level. They still call me Coach Foltz.
Yeah, it was a good
It was
experience.
a great experience.
Right.
And it got my feet wet into coaching football.
So during that time, though, like that's what this is leading to. What was going on in our personal life during that time?
There was a lot of things going on with me and my father. My father was very abusive drunk growing up. Tried to have a somewhat of a relationship with him at that point.
Because he was interested in getting to know our son.
Right.
Really.
He wanted to be a grandfather.
Yeah.
And during that time, in all honesty, he was a better grandfather than he was a dad ever.
I think it really started where he was overstepping boundaries.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to be a better dad or grandpa than he was a dad, but he was such a bad dad that it was very damaging to you.
So it was more of like he still felt the need to try to control me. And at that time, I was, 35 years old. 35 years old.
You were in your 30s. Yeah. I'm not doing math right now.
So, fast forward a little bit. In between the end of that season out in Jefferson to moving Brock back to the BCMFL, where he should have been, where he needed to be, because that's his community. My father and myself got into an altercation.
You got into an altercation, though. Like, be honest about it. We don't have to give all the details, which we would in person, but we're not going to put them all in here. He attacked you because he was mad that you wouldn't do what he wanted you to do.
Yeah, so one thing led to another. I self-defended myself, and I was arrested, and I was charged with a domestic violence charge.
Even though they don't live together, and even though his dad was actually the aggressor and the one who initiated everything. So if you look it up, it shows in his record.
I had to get a lawyer. I had to fight a domestic violence charge.
And it was dropped. Because we have the proof.
Right. The case was reopened. I did, however, get charged with
You were charged with an aggravated
disorderly conduct and a year of probation, which I got off on 6 months early. Needless to say, it's still part of my record. So
when they did background checks, that came up.
So when I went we signed Brock up for BCMFL, I had put in that I wanted to be a coach. At that point, I knew I was going to be an assistant. I wasn't going to get a head coach because those coaches were in place. They'd been there. I had to take my court paperwork because it was brought up in a board meeting before it could be approved. So I had to prove all of my case that, yes, there was a domestic violence charge. Yes, it was dropped. This is what I got charged with. I've never been in trouble with anything in the lines of drugs, kids, theft.
Domestic, really.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I grew up fighting, so I fought a lot. So those are the things that I had gotten in trouble for.
Defending yourself. You got in trouble for
defending myself.
Because you were taught to do it in an unhealthy way. But that also led to us having a protection order against his dad.
Right.
Because he was so unhinged and he wouldn't stop even after having his son arrested. Like, he tried to call him right after. Like, there was just enough documentation that we had a protection order. And then it got renewed even. So it lasted for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because in court, after 5 years, he acted like himself, and it was granted as an extension. So it's not a healthy environment. But this was just an issue that we had gone through, and we were honest about everything. We're always honest about it because he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't. He was attacked by a man who attacked him his whole life.
Yeah.
And as an adult, he finally had the courage to defend and protect himself in that situation. Should he have walked away? Yes, but he didn't. He reacted to abuse that happened his whole life. You reacted to abuse that started that you went through your whole life.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So after showing all the documentation, um, all the court records, I was voted in to become an assistant coach for Brock's first year of JV football at BCMFL. Went through that year. I believe his head coach at that time.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I don't want to.
It was a good staff. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you went. The biggest part of all of that is that you have something showing on a criminal record.
Right.
You had all the proper documentation to show proof of what actually happened.
Yes.
You were approved by the board to be involved as a coach.
Yes.
Then at some point you started attending board meetings.
Yeah, I started attending board meetings.
And then you became a trustee.
I was voted on as a trustee.
I don't remember at what point that was, but it was a long time ago. There was people there who, haven't been involved in the program in a very long time.
And then I think I spent a year or two as a trustee, and then I became the commissioner of the league.
You became a head coach, though. What was it, Brock's second year of JV? Did you coach JV first?
I did. So I was voted to be the head coach the following year, Brock's second year of JV, but I was only going to be there for one season. And there was another coach that was going to be my assistant, because it came down between me and him getting the vote to be the head coach. I actually won the vote to be the head coach, and the more I thought about it, because it's not about me, it's about the kids, I stepped down and took the assistant position. I gave the head coach position to the other coach.
I forgot about that.
Because he was going to be with them for 2 years solid. I was only going to be there for a year. So there was no sense in them getting used to my way and then him becoming the head coach the following year and
Right.
trying to do something else. So for the betterment of the team and the kids, I said, hey, you be the head coach. I'll step down. I'll be the assistant. But when we move up to varsity, I want to be a varsity head coach. And at that time, we had 2 teams at every level, freshman, JV, and varsity.
So moving on with that, you coached 2 years of varsity with him.
Yes, I became the coach of varsity. Varsity Red, I believe it was.
I don't remember. Okay, so that takes us through all that with Brock. So Chevelle started cheering when she was 4, I think. Yeah, because she was like a year early.
Yeah.
And she had gotten approved to cheer because it was the only opportunity that she and Brock would get to do something together like that. So the board allowed her to cheer at 4. She was a cheerleader on varsity at 4 years old.
Yep.
And she became really great from the beginning. Honestly, it's been fun with her with that. But I had started to attend board meetings prior to her signing up. When a new board took over, maybe you were the commissioner at that point then?
I think I was still the commissioner at that point, yeah.
So from commissioner, what did you become after that?
I became the president of the
So you went from commissioner to president. So everybody had aged out at that point, and they were moving on because they didn't have any kids down in the youth program anymore. And then you became president from commissioner. And when you became president, that previous year, I had become chair advisor because the position had opened up. So when you were president, I was chair advisor. So this takes us to like 2020, I think.
Yeah, COVID. It was COVID.
Yes,
I was president.
yes, because she had turned 5 then, and she had started cheering in 2019.
Yes.
She was 4. Okay.
Yes.
So COVID was hard.
Yeah,
we lost a lot of kids because of that.
League down.
It made things really hard.
We couldn't do any type of fundraising because nobody could be around people by the mandate.
People were too afraid to do stuff even. So it was a weird season. We were lucky that they got to play. So 2021 then, we bought our shop.
Yes.
And you were president.
I was
chair advisor. And I even had a date I'm going to pause this for a minute and I'm going to find you a date. Hang on. The date, August 23rd, 2021. That night, you and I stepped down from the board.
Yes.
We were both involved in other things. So we were both involved in other things that we were involved in. Well, one for me was previous to doing anything with the football and cheer programs. You were invested in something that you were trying to help develop. And then we had our own business to run. So time became really tight and we felt like we could not give our roles at the football and cheer program the time and attention that they needed for the positions that we were in. But the condition of the league when you took over as president, it was messy.
Yes.
There was things not being done correctly.
Things not being done correctly.
And I don't even I don't know how far back it actually even goes. I'm not going to place blame on people. I'm not naming names on anything.
No, I just know that when I took it over, we were in trouble with the IRS because taxes had not been filed for 3 years previous.
And with not filing taxes, you can lose your 501c3 status, which means that you're no longer a nonprofit. And potentially, even if you tried to reapply for another, they might not let you because of not being in compliance with the state of Ohio.
And from at that time, after finding that out, I didn't realize that we were being penalized daily. So things were getting
like money penalized daily. They actually, yes.
So I didn't know at that point, like, if we were going to, once it was all hashed out, what we were going to owe, if we were going to owe anything, we were going to be able to skate by and not have to pay anything.
I swear there was a time where, wasn't it like a $20,000? It was a lot.
It was,
and it really doesn't matter, but I remember it was a lot because it was a long period of time and it was being penalized by so much per day, and it was years worth of it not being done correctly.
So everything at that point had been taken to an accountant to handle with what was going on and handle with the IRS and sending letters and things. And like I said before, we couldn't generate any real money as far as our fundraising because of COVID.
Yes. So that led us back to Cash going into football then. The next season.
The next season, yeah.
So that was August
2022.
He should have started in 2022. Yeah, because he would have been 5 then.
Yeah.
So then Chevelle stepped down to cheer for his team. So she was cheering from varsity down to freshman.
And I had went back. I tried to be a head coach.
I don't think you did his first year.
Or maybe I did not. I think I just became an assistant.
Yeah.
His first year to try to help brand new coaches that had never coached before.
That season, I don't even want to talk about that season because it wasn't great. There was nothing productive about it. The only thing that kind of made it okay was that he was young, and we all know the football player he is now. Yeah. It didn't negatively affect him.
No.
But it wasn't a great starting point because like that first year is the foundation of it.
Right.
But anyway, moving on to the next year.
The next year
it was all new coaching staff.
All new coaching staff. I became the head coach for his last year freshman.
A freshman. Yeah, but year 2 there was bigger issues in year 2. Mm-hmm. So I am going to name a name of a coach because there's been issues and it's kind of directly affiliated to some of the issues that we came here to talk about. So he had signed up to assist on that year, and there was like 4 guys coaching. One of them, people have seen a mom from another team say things that were done to her son while he was playing in our league. Dakota Roby. There there was days when you weren't there because you guys were in two-a-days.
Yeah.
And so I would record clips of Cash so he could see just kind of how he was interacting, see how he was doing, keep track of his progress, because he couldn't even come and watch him. And it was kind of heartbreaking because it's his dad and he's very involved in our kids' lives. So I would just periodically record stuff. So there was a day in the beginning. I want to say it was around Brock's birthday, maybe July 23rd of 2022. I have the video. I'll share it. It's nothing I'm going to hide. They were doing drills and Roby had a one of the pads.
Yeah, blocking pad.
Yeah, and he was having them run the ball at him and he was hitting them with the pad. Now, this is the first time that I really paid attention to it. I had my camera on and I was recording it for you to see, because the year before Cash was terrified. He didn't want anything to do with football. So he hit my son so hard with that pad that Cash fell backwards and his feet went over his head and he rolled. And I remember like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, don't overreact. You've overreacted before. Just calm down. Maybe he didn't mean to hit him that hard. But from there, I continued recording. Mm-hmm. And I recorded him doing it to multiple kids after that. So at that point, I went to Sam. She was on the board still. And I don't remember exactly what she said, so I can't speak on it much. I'm pretty sure that she had talked to the board about it. And from there, nothing was done. Nothing was said to this coach.
No.
So then parents and I went to the head coach, which was Marshall at that point.
Yes.
And expressed our concerns. We weren't ignorant about anything. We were just like, he's being a little rough. They're 5 to 7 years old. And he had said something along the lines of, he didn't do anything wrong. I stand behind my coaches. And we were basically like, okay, he better not touch our kids like that again.
Now, mind you, there was a lot of that season that I wasn't there every night because of prior engagements.
Yeah, but
and
you didn't get to help there.
And I didn't really get to help. And I would try to give advice to that coaching staff, and it kind of just went in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
They didn't really take anything I had to say seriously because I really couldn't understand. I don't know why.
We don't know. We'll never know. And it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Yeah. The biggest thing with that season is that happened with Roby. And he was allowed to continue to coach and he wasn't reprimanded for it.
Right.
So then he moved on the next year to coach when his kid moved up to JV. Right. Is there anything else important that happened that year, or can we move on to the JV or no? Because that was your first year of being a head coach at freshman. I think we skip on to that. I don't think there's anything more that really mattered that year. I don't think there is. So then you...
Oh, no. Yeah. I mean...
I don't think so.
We took a team to Columbus.
No, we didn't. Not that year. No, you became a head coach first. So you became...
that year.
Yeah, Cash played freshman for 3 years because he signed up early. So his third year, you had signed up to be a head coach because we already played 2 seasons here. And our son wasn't progressing. He wasn't being coached. He was not being taught anything that was turning him into a better football player as he went along. Nothing. So at that point, you said, I want to be a head coach. I'm going to see if I can be the head coach. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Right. So you were still coaching up with Brock's team.
Yep.
And then you wanted to come down and you wanted to coach Cash's last year of freshman to try to put some structure in these kids, because this is our 3rd season and they're not learning anything.
We were going backwards.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. Those first 2 years, they weren't good. They just weren't good. So you had applied to coach, and I think you were told that your availability didn't work out because you would miss the first 30 minutes of practice. Isn't that what it was? So then they chose Josh Newhart to be the head coach. Mind you, he was on as an assistant the year before. Mm-hmm. So then he was getting the team. And you didn't even know at that point if you'd be allowed to be an assistant, because everybody was kind of just being weird towards us.
Yeah.
from the time that we stepped away from the board on.
Right.
They were all just weird towards us. Nothing happened. I didn't do anything. If anything happened, it didn't matter enough to us that we can even tell you that it happened because we don't remember. So then there ended up being enough kids.
Right.
That you got a phone call then asking you if you would head coach the second team.
I did. And I had to really think about it because I was so. I was kind of
offended. You were.
Because I'd spent so much time in the league already prior to this with my oldest boy's age group.
So it didn't make sense to us at that point.
It didn't make sense to me
didn't.
because I had the experience and also I was bringing stuff down from the higher level to teach these kids. So yeah, I was a little offended, but I went ahead and I said yes, that I would take the team because I thought, you know what, this is a good opportunity.
It was the best thing we did.
To be the betterment for the team.
Yeah.
And here's something else to that I think I need to really touch on is that my win to loss record is not the greatest, but I don't ever really care about the winning record. I care about the kids. To me, the winning part is seeing them develop from week to week and getting better and putting more points up on the board every single week and getting better in every single position. And sometimes that means we got to move kids around 3-4 different times to figure out what's best for that kid and what's best for that kid's play for the team. It's not an I situation.
No, it's not.
A team situation.
It is. So it's like, you start the season and you want them to be better by the end of the season.
Yes.
And we hope that it goes that way.
Right.
And whatever happens in here is the lessons. Because they're children. Yeah. And that's how it is.
And you're talking about a team that
the kids who have played have not been coached well at that point.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
There were kids this year who came in from different leagues, and it was their first year playing in our league.
Right, because the league had been opened up way back when I was a trustee.
Right. So we had an influx of kids coming into this age group that had not played with us previously. So there was some in freshmen with us, and then there were some that went to JV as well. So this was the first year that I became a coach. So I started coaching with him so that I could do warm-ups and that before he came over from the high school practice. And, then we actually started football practice. But, it was rough. The first week, I was completely alone with 20-some kids because nothing was being done for coaches to be approved. They weren't being background checked. Nobody was even being talked to by the board. We didn't know anybody then. Like there were dads watching me by myself conditioning kids, which I had built a program and I knew what I was going to do with them. But imagine 20-some kids that don't know each other. Some of them haven't even started school yet. They don't have any structure to work in a group yet. And I'm standing there by myself in a field trying to teach them how to do warm-ups. I got through it. But the first week I was completely alone. Yeah. By week 2, we had 3 coaches that were with me then. And then we were really turning into a team. And then you had finished 2-a-days. Yep. And then, what was it? Maybe another week. And then we moved over to Edgewood. And then you were with us. From that point on, you missed maybe like 30 minutes of practice.
Yeah, me and Brock would come. Brock would come down after he got a nice back.
That was the first year that he started mentoring the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a good season. We did have a good season.
Yeah, we opened up.
They learned a lot.
We opened up our first game with scoring, I think, 1 touchdown in that Geneva game to the end of the season, putting up 64 points on.
You remember that stuff, and I remember things like they stood in line by the end of the season. Right. Just 2 different jobs.
So, you could see the progression. Yeah. Every week we were moving the ball more efficiently. We were putting more points up on the board.
Yeah.
And some of the games, we were in those games and we just couldn't finish them out.
They were just developing, though, into better football players, into better athletes, into better listeners.
They knew, they would be at the high school game and they knew the calls because they knew the terminology because that's the stuff that we're bringing down to them. We want to, building a good high school program starts at the youth program.
Right. And
And
so
that hadn't really been done before, bringing that type of coaching
not
and
in our time there.
terminology,
No.
not yet,
No.
definitely not in
Uh-uh.
my time, down to that level.
I'm sure probably not before then either, because I'm not sure that people really thought about it much to bring that down, or like people were involved like you were, where you were at the high school and you were in the youth program.
Yeah.
So we got through that season. And then one of our coaches who had come over to us from Lakeside this year was talking about doing a tournament team.
Yeah.
Before you guys had talked about it, and then the other head coach from freshman approached us and told us that the Geneva team wanted our son to go play on the Geneva team
And that kind of put me into
for
high
a
gear.
tournament. And
It
that
kind of
was
put me into
weird.
high gear, and I said, no, if he's going to play on a tournament team, it's going to be as a
Right.
warrior,
Like there
not a
wasn't
Geneva Eagle.
there wasn't even any discussion at that point of our league trying to put anything together. Like in our coaching group, we had just finally started to discuss it, but then a whole different league came over and was approaching kids in our program, and their head coach was telling them to go play in Geneva. Why aren't you talking about putting a team together?
Right.
Why aren't you trying to build something for our own kids in our community? No clue. We don't have an answer for that. So some kids that we wanted from our community had already committed to Geneva, and we respected their parents' decisions because they had already committed to a team, and they went with Geneva, and we had built a team here. So this was not affiliated with BCMFL. This team was not.
No.
We had gotten permission to use equipment. You had gotten permission to use the school property for practice.
Yes.
And then we had pulled together, because it was an 8U team, they had to fall within the age group. So we had kids from freshman and we had kids from JV because they fell within the age bracket there. And then we had kids from Conneaut.
I had a couple from Conneaut. I had a couple from St. John came over.
Maybe just one from there.
Maybe
but yeah.
one from St. John.
But then there was multiple. Did they play for Buckeye, or were they at Lakeside and they came over to Buckeye that year?
There was a couple.
There was some that did come from Lakeside.
And I think we had maybe one from Madison.
It just got confusing because Lakeside kids became Warriors, and then some of the other Lakeside kids just came over for the tournament team,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So this is where we tie in why I mentioned Dakota Roby earlier. There was an incident with a kid who was playing JV. How do I even want to say that? It wasn't dealt with appropriately?
The way that it was dealt with, if I had, like, being an outside
I don't think it was.
person looking in,
Yeah.
I would say absolutely not the correct way to deal with that particular situation.
So that's a point there. So I had become a trustee on the board again.
Yeah, I
forgot
was
that
no
point.
longer.
No, you were
I was just coaching.
Right. So that year, things fell off to me. And I wanted to get involved again to make sure that the program was going in the direction that it needed to go. There was openings on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I started to attend meetings. They weren't being run appropriately. There was never financial reports given by the treasurer. The president was never there. The vice president was always running meetings. They didn't follow any of the bylaws. They didn't follow Robert's Rules of Orders. They didn't do anything. So I just had a feeling I needed to get involved. So I sat quietly through all of this. I didn't say anything to them. I attended meetings. I said there was a position open. I was nominated to become a trustee. I accepted it. They voted me on like that. I was on. So one of my first actual meetings was a discussion about removing this kid from the league.
Yes.
You were not there for this. It was in the parking lot at the high school by the basketball hoops. Everybody was just sitting there. Coaches from that team were there. From what I was seeing, it wasn't being dealt with appropriately.
Well, I think you need to explain how that meeting come about when they wanted.
This is just hard for me because
kick this kid off.
Like, I'm not trying to cause problems. No. It's that other people are causing problems, and I'm trying to clean it up because it's damaging our organization.
But unfortunately, we have to go through this step and tell you everything.
So what do you think that I need to say that I'm not saying?
Well, you brought up the Jacoby
Dakota
Dakota
Roby.
Roby
Mhm.
thing. So before,
Like, I don't want to mention the kid's name even.
we're
Like,
not going
if
to
you
mention the
know
kid's
him, you
name.
know him.
But
I'm not
it's
saying he did anything wrong. I'm not going to say his mom did anything wrong.
right.
Like, I have been a mom who was put in a situation with my own son in football who made bad decisions with the way that I reacted, and I learned from them. I
This
did.
the same type of situation that happened that we talked about with the little guys and hitting and all that stuff. This is the same type of situation, apparently.
He was physical with that kid,
Right.
is what was told.
Is what was told.
And I'm not saying anybody's lying, so don't take it that way when I
No.
say is what was told. I have to, like, I didn't see it. I wasn't involved in conversation with it. Honestly, from when I joined the board, I was told, so Ryan Petro was president of the board. Ryan Wilson was vice president of the board. Ryan Wilson had all of these conversations with the coach, the child, the mom by himself. There was never another member of the board. As far as I was told, there was never another member of the board present when any of those conversations happened. Never should have been done like that. Never should have been done like that at all.
So the mom, I think the basic thing is like the mom and the uncle wanted answers on what was going to be done about the situation.
Right. And it seemed like this coach did this to our child. What are you going to do about it? That's inappropriate.
Right.
And as a board member at that point, I didn't believe what I was being told by the vice president. I didn't believe his story because I have videos of Dakota Roby hitting my son and his teammates from the year before.
Right.
And they didn't do anything about it then.
So my thing is instead of like sitting down
and having a civil conversation.
Well, not even that, but
I don't know if it happened though. It could have started that way, and
like
maybe she wasn't happy
reprimanding-
with the results.
and maybe, but
I don't know.
Also, like I don't believe that there was any type of reprimanding of that particular coach.
No,
Once again, which also,
From what I remember, no.
if you're in a position of you want answers and you continue to have see this coach in the field, to me, that's just putting a little fuel on the fire that you could have easily put out and dealt with that situation completely different. To the point where you were okay to take. I felt like it was okay that the board people in question were okay to take it out on the kid.
Because they removed him from the league. Right, like that's what I was saying. So the meeting that I was talking about that was in the parking lot, they were voting then to remove this kid from the league. And I don't know the backstory. And they want this vote to happen. And it didn't matter what I said. It was going to happen anyway because they all agreed with each other.
Yes.
So it was going to go the way that they wanted it to go. Now, I was in a conversation with a parent who knew the mom, and basically it was like she kind of just wants somebody to listen to her. All of you know I'm good at that. I'm good at listening. I'm good at seeing both sides, and some people find it infuriating because I can see both sides. Even when I'm wrong or I'm being wronged by somebody, I can see both sides. I think that's part of why this is so hard for me to do all of this and to like put it public. Because I think of the fact that like these people have families, these people have, roles in the community, these people have children. I don't want anybody to get hurt in the process of this. The issue is these people on this board are hurting children. They're hurting a program that is for our youth. It's a disservice to our community. This program belongs to our community. And if we don't get it straightened out, there's not going to be somewhere for them to play football and cheer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to cut this off right here, and then we need to start another one because of uploading it and people being able to hang out long enough. And this is our first time doing anything like this. So don't mind if there's bad lighting or the camera's bouncing. So we're going to end this, and then we will pick it up, finishing the conversation about the child being voted off and what that led to with us.
And that's where all of it's going to really, really start.
Yes, you just need a backstory.
That's the backstory.
So, part 2 coming.